Liam's story is a good segue into our next presentation. We have Sarah Cooley and her dad Carl, who are going to, Sarah's going to come and came to talk to us a bit about her life, and I think to hopefully give you a sense of the richness and fullness of people's lives and how they need and want to be supported to live those lives. Carl, as many of us who have made our careers in working in these fields, Carl also works in our field. He's the medical director at Project Mountain, so full disclosure for everyone if they don't know that. Carl's a great resource to you. He's a developmental pediatrician. So Carl and Sarah are going to share their story with us.
Thank you. Sarah and I have presented enough that we both know the two worst places in the schedule of the conference are just before lunch, just after lunch, and they're ready for a nap. And we have both of those. We'll do our best to. Should I turn your phone? What would I do without the screen? Anyway, I'm Sarah Cooley. I am a pediatrician. I was a primary pediatrician in Newport for 12 years, starting in 1976, and was living and working there when Sarah was born in 1984. And partly because of Sarah's role in our life, I decided that I wanted to take my career in a direction of working with maybe improving the world to some degree for people with developmental disabilities. So I did a fellowship in developmental pediatrics in the late 1980s and worked at Dartmouth-Hitchcock running their child development clinic for about 12 years before I decided to work at Project Mountain, kind of looking for an organization where the whole mission was in this area, not just a small part of it. I'm privileged to have Don Shumway, whose picture you saw earlier, as my boss. He's the president and CEO at Project Mountain, and I've enjoyed working with him. I think we are here as sort of an example of a family. I hope some of the things we have to say are generalizable for you, so you recognize that other families have some of the same experiences as we do and have. And we're going to talk kind of together for a little while, and then I'll try to reflect some of my experiences as a developmental pediatrician working with families like ours as well, and see if that's hopefully useful to you. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I am Sarah Cooley, and I worked with the Disabilities Life Center for 10 years since I moved to Concord, New Hampshire.
Yeah, we moved to Concord when Sarah was 20. We lived in Newbury and on a farm outside of Newbury and Bradford, about 2 miles from town. And as a young adult, it didn't seem like an easy place for Sarah to live. There wasn't a lot of work on our street for her. There wasn't any public transportation and not a lot of recreational opportunities except taking care of the animals if you wanted to do that, which wasn't her. So we moved to Concord when she was 20, and Sarah was visiting with a friend at the law school.
Law school, actually Freedom Pierce Law School.
And what did you find there?
I found a brochure that said Disabilities Life Center.
Mm-hmm.
And I brought it after school one day, and I gave it to my job coach, Miss Hennessy, I think it is. And she had helped me to get a student intern job there.
So this is where I need to work.
And that's what I need to work because I'm developmental disability. I have a job to work with the Disabilities Life Center.
She's been the
Office assistant.
system.
For over 10 years. Well, I do all sorts of things. They help people with disabilities, and I help them out with different areas of the office, like copying. My favorite one is like computer work. NJ is one of my favorites. And a whole bunch of documents and with having fun and being around people that I want to be with.
So it's a law office, basically. It's probably a law office that their job is to look after the well-being of people like Sarah and families like ours, and they probably want to stay out of their way. How do
Also protect their rights.
protect your rights, right? Every state has an agency like the DRC, by the way. It's federally funded to some degree, and it's protection and advocacy, and it's an amazing, and it has a lot of its roots in terms of the people who lead it in some of the stories you already heard about closing of Columbia State School. So as parents, my wife and I had some goals for Sarah, and Sarah has some goals. We wanted her to be safe and happy, like any parent would want for their children. We wanted her to be as independent as possible. In our family life, we felt that until proven otherwise, she would do the same things that everybody else in the family did. That she'd have a sustainable life, that when we were no longer available, that she would be able to carry on and live independently and happily and safely. We wanted her to have a meaningful social life. One of the slides talked about isolation and the risks of that, and we felt that needed to be avoided. And achievable dreams. And we were going to be doing the dreaming, just like Liam. Sarah has done a bit of her own dreaming. So, what's your goals?
One of the goals and activities I do is also kind of say,
We'll go right to that if you want.
I kind of do. I'm also a book author. They all know. So I also do some video and filmmaking. And I'm going to do another thing about that video and filmmaking. I did a workshop in June 1st and 3rd. It was like digital storytelling. And I signed up for that by myself with no help. And that's what I did by myself. And I made a story. And then I made a story and came out as a movie.
And we'll show you.
And we'll show you.
Seems to be finishing talks with video.
Right.
Right.
I've been doing this for a long time. I always want to work with dolphins. Yeah. That comes up in the story as well. And I'm going to book author thing for just a second. And I do book author, I like to share one role. I say everything about having a disability. I hope you all don't mind me reading. I have had a disability all my life. I was born with Down syndrome. It's not simple. And it's just not easy. It is really hard knowing who I am and wondering what I am going to do in my life. Like getting a job, and living on my own, and making a good career. I want to do what I can do. I want to do what I can to make my life better. For example, I like to run and drive, but it takes me more time to run, and I'm not sure I can do it. I would like to know what it is like being normal instead of being different all the time. Okay. It's just so hard knowing what to do. I want the world to know who I am. What can I do to make the new me Sarah Cooley? I want to have more work experience and better work skills. By looking at the Disability Rights Center, I want to enjoy my life and do all kinds of hobbies. Like write poetry, writing a book, and when I have time, shopping. I gotta say that. Having special needs, it feels different. What can I do to make this world understand what I feel? Sometimes I feel that having a disability causes a lot of trouble, and I feel like I am in the way. Sometimes I feel it is my fault. I'm often worried about whether I can take care of myself. I need my family and friends to support me in my life. I like to have a boyfriend someday to support me too and make me feel hopeful. Sometimes I'm frightened of what will happen to me if my family is gone. I am trying my hardest to make my life look easy, but it is really hard knowing it is hard having this disability, which I know I'll have for the rest of my life. I will keep trying to be the best person I can be.
Like the video that Sarah mentioned, sort of doing on her own, and we didn't know about it until it was finished. She, a few years ago, began posting short essays on Facebook.
Right, that's it.
And we didn't really know that they were happening, not being quite as fast as she is with Facebook. And as a Christmas gift, her brother compiled those, took them off of Facebook and compiled them and helped her edit them a little bit, and gave her a copy of this book for Christmas.
In 2010.
In 2010. Since then, I looked at the
I also wrote a poetry book, which is called A Mother Lost Poetry of Tears. And I also wrote something in the back of that. This is about me, about the author. Sarah Cooley was born in 1984, grew up in New Hampshire, and lived in Pennsylvania, comprehensive. These poems chronicle the author's experience of falling in love, marrying, losing her love, and struggling still to accept that loss. Her project expresses passion, feelings, and reflections. The young woman who fully embraces life while living with an intellectual disability.
Not off the press.
I had to write that my fellow guy lieutenant just got off the hot press was a real name. And this is that's my favorite one, technically. And this one, spiritual, like kind of God, gospel stuff and spiritual. And finding myself around the world about who I am in the world, or I just call it the real me.
So, soon to be available on iTunes, iBookstore, and Amazon.
Really interested,
Anyway, just a little bit of kind of granular detail that we won't dwell on, but making ends meet for Sarah. She really does have the capacity with the current support she has to live in the absence of financial support from us. It's not to say that we don't take her out to dinner once in a while. Once in a while. But she has her employment. She works 12 hours a week at the DRC and earns about $11 an hour. She has Social Security disability income. She doesn't qualify for SSI because of her income, her overall income picture, but she does get SSDI, which is about $600 a month. She lives in a housing apartment building that is Section 8 supported, so that her rent can't be more than a third of her overall income, whatever that is. So what is it now?
The rent is like $320.
$320 a month. It's a nice one-bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
And you want to say something else about that?
Oh, I'm also single, and I'm in my own, and I have some kids, and I've been there for some time, and it's safe and great shelter, and I have my neighbors, and they also can, either to help me if I need help, or just and also stay safe. If anything happens, they let me know, and I can get it easily. And I also cook once in a while. And I also clean up by myself. I clean once in a while, and I'm just mostly there just to be my own person and being independent and being responsible adult,
So downtown, you can walk to work and walk to
right?
CPS.
I can walk mostly I can walk anywhere. And sometimes a long distance can get to me at times. But yeah,
And another support is your health insurance.
my house.
Folks are interested in. Can you, she takes care of her own, where do you keep those?
My wallet. I'm getting to do it stuff.
Well, what's that one?
This is the anthem.
So she has insurance through my work, as long as I'm working and eligible for it. What else do you have? What's this?
Medicare.
Medicare.
Development Health and Human Services.
Medicaid.
Medicaid.
She's been allowed to, as you probably are aware, opt out of choosing. We're sort of waiting for the dust to settle and kept hoping everybody has their act together and ready to go. And she has to make that choice in the coming months. But and she has health services. She has a primary care provider. She has specialists.
And I was looking at, I also have, I see a doctor once in a while. Dr. Morale, I think his name is. Morale. I see her once a month, mostly once or twice a month. I see her under my own appointments. And I go see her either myself or I need help. The help.
And who makes the appointments?
I do.
She's her own guardian. She has control of her own records. Her medical record has a consent for us as her parents to share information in it and to help with decision making. But she doesn't need a whole lot of help with that. But sometimes.
Well, I'm trying to say one thing that I'm also in with therapy. I see my counselor, every 2 weeks or once a month. I see my counselor for certain things. I talk to her about either emotional stuff or if anything comes to me like I'm emotional or I feel scared. I go to my counselor and I can talk to her about what I'm feeling inside or if I need help with certain things.
We don't have access to any of that information. That's just private. What's that?
This is on my medication boxes. I fill once a week actually. To Sunday, on Monday. By Monday, I usually fill them up again. My dad checks them every other time. And one day I teach them.
As if you needed it.
There's no medication box. I fill them up once a week. And one of them is the nighttime meds. But it kind of has one of them. That's where my heart and the peace is just my gut, no, my reflexes.
For reflux. Right?
The reflux.
This is a omeprazole. It's 40 milligrams of omeprazole. It's a fairly high dose. And there's the vitamin and some gabapentin for some neuropathic pain problem that Sarah has. So she's got some serious meds here. Part of the reason for showing it to you is that we will find it very difficult when she transitions over to having her Medicaid care managed, if these are suddenly requiring prior approval. She can on these medications for 4 or 5 years. They work perfectly for her. And I know who you all are. CEO is having to be walked through and tried out from the beginning again because of how well they work. Jill, what else was this?
I have this machine, which my dad helps me out. And it has a stick that goes in the bottom. Yeah, I can do it.
Well, don't put it in because that doesn't feel easy.
Then this goes into the here to test my INR on my finger. And it goes to right here and they test it to see how level I am. Either like 3.0 or 3.4.
So, the only insurance that pays for home INR testing of the three that she has is her commercial insurance. Because they recognize that this is cheaper than having to go to the lab and have blood drawn and do the test there. And it would be my recommendation to the higher ups if they're interested in controlling costs that this kind of home testing be considered as something to be supported. But it also makes our lives a lot easier. We don't have to truck to the lab and Sarah doesn't have to have blood drawn.
I try to say this, I forget the money thing. I don't do needles. It kind of creeps me out.
It doesn't work very well, but anyway. So, these are, for us as a family, and I mention these things, I know we're talking about community-based supports and services, but from a family's perspective, this is a holistic set of things. Our experience in the community changes if we have to drive to the lab once a week and have blood drawn. I have to leave work, Sarah doesn't have transportation, whatever.
Or to do taxing.
That's true. But anyway, we see them as kind of a package. But to mention some of the things that are part of her community-based services, and Sarah's I would say, probably a pretty resourceful, capable person. We don't need a whole lot of support. We started out when she became 21 with a budget, an annual budget of something like $25,000. We don't get that much anymore because we couldn't find ways to use it that maybe we weren't resourceful enough to find ways to spend all that money. But our budget now is about half that. And but it includes 7 hours a week of time with Bobby.
Right, which is my support staff. Well, she helps me with independent stuff like shopping. If I need help, my family comes to me to do shopping. She tries to help me pick out healthy things. And that's not my best. So yeah, grocery shopping and usually I do cooking. I have a few of my stove tops, but my apartment I had a smoke detector and then they would go off. And also cleaning, which I mostly do now. I don't even wish I was clean, I can do it, because we can keep doing it.
Sir, I went shopping with you one time, a couple of years ago, I guess, and I learned something about how you organize your shopping. And everybody, I guess, has some sort of method of getting around the grocery store. Sarah, at that time when we met, you went through the grocery store twice. You said you had wants, you said you had needs, and you had wants and needs? Needs and wants. So you went around the grocery store and bought the needs.
Right. It's like needs versus wants. I'm trying to think about my popping needs, like paper towels, or paper towels, or cleaning products, or needs would be like toilet paper, or sugar conditioner.
And wants.
Wants? Well, my biggest deal mostly. When I'm trying to work on really hard is the Diet Coke stuff, with a bad addiction to, and pretzels. Because pretzels been a childhood food for a long time.
One of your first words, I think.
My first was actually not very bad, because I was actually a godfather.
Yeah.
My godfather,
Bob.
and then Bob.
Carl, that's right.
So I didn't, my husband was mom and dad, because I just said Bob, because he's my godfather.
So her budget pays for Bobby to help her out 7 hours a week, a couple hours and several days a week. It pays for transportation. Sarah mentioned taxis. We do have public transportation in Concord. Unfortunately, it's only available during the working day, 5 days a week. So if you want to go to the mall, or if you want to go to a movie on the weekend,
Right.
or if you want to go to the doctor's office, God forbid. You have to take it down.
Right. Each way I go to taxi, I do collect the receipts. So I get kind of reimbursed from that, from Cambridge's.
It pays for camp, she was,
Summer camp, which I go actually every summer, mainly every summer. And my club, I'm going back again for my first time. I've been doing this since I was 8 years old. And now I'm 30 years old. I've been doing this since being, and it's been a long time. I did a break last year for some kind of mental reason.
a break, so to speak.
Last year was kind of complicated. Because I was in India with my family. And I went down there before with my father. And I was meeting with down there with Sarah books. Because I'm a book author, I make some Sarah books. I was alone in a hotel room. And all I'm talking, I figured all over my medications. That never happened to me before, ever. I was scared a little bit. And I was trying to die. A few years later, I passed out. Fainted, kind of way, it was nothing. And over here, it still goes at times, but I'm trying not to get used to it. So I fainted, and I broke my ankle. Broke my bones on each side of it, both sides. I couldn't move because I was scared and trying to get up myself.
What was in your hand?
My soul. I went on to do so I tried to call it down, but I couldn't. I was asleep. It's sort of daydreaming sleep thing. So I put my both my ankle, my docking back. I felt a little bit of singing there. I was scared, a little bit shaking, tears coming out. And that helped me up into bed. So I spent the rest of this one conference because I had to sit in bed the rest of the conference.
We actually spent almost all of it in the emergency room. This was the National Down Syndrome Congress.
I go every year.
She goes every year, mainly to have a booth to sell her books as opposed to.
I was there, but my mom said I was busy with the guy that he was doing with 36 hours. It was not pleased.
It wasn't much fun.
It was much fun because it was like, well, painful stuff. I just know sometimes. My mom was bothering me as well. They told me I could back me up. They sold 5 books for me. So that I couldn't read it. They helped me with that.
So,
Because all the rough stuff I've been through in my life, I knew my family was always there by my side.
So the other thing that's important, as you might imagine by now from what you've heard, is that her budget, community supports budget, pays for a writing tutor. She meets with
Double plus. She's my editor and she's my editor. She helps me edit my writing.
and helps you publish. She's a published author, so she knows something
She's a
about
truth
it.
author.
So she's helped us with that. It pays for video workshops, such as the one you'll see.
Yeah. And I can't wait to show it to all of you, and I really hope you guys like it. I hope you call that.
Personal trainer at the Y.
Yep. And then dinner once a week. And I'm getting big into like every afternoon, but once a week I do my trainer there. And every night I start to swim again. There's always dolphins, obviously I think swim better. So yeah, so I go there every night to swim.
There's a place in the Keys in Florida that's a dolphin research center that offers a summer camp for
2 weeks.
for 2 weeks, I think. But you have to be able to swim pretty well, so
For some dirt.
that'll be motivation.
I go every night, immediately. So yeah.
So let me show some of these pictures,
Okay.
if I can. And then we can let people go to lunch, and we'll finish with your video. So, to Sarah and her family. I was working in Newport when she was born, and she was our first child. So when you've been working as a pediatrician for 7 or 8 years by this time, you begin to dread the question from moms about this. How does this work with your kids? And being a single pediatrician without children is a challenge of its own kind. You were a big, it's hard. Credibility was something I had to work at. But And which one of us is least recognizable here?
You don't need to.
And Sarah doesn't like this picture that much.
Well, I despise it, so. I don't mind it.
But I mention it partly because this, like other families, this was sort of our entry into this world that we're talking about today. And one of the things that I think we felt, and that other families that I've worked with professionally often say at this kind of moment, that they have the impression that there is an integrated system of care waiting for them out there. That it's coordinated, that people talk to one another, that everybody knows what's going on. And you know as well as I do from your own experiences with all sorts of things, maybe particularly healthcare system, that it's not an integrated system of care yet. It's something that we aspire to and that we're working on. And I think that task sort of falls to all of us, wherever we happen to work in the healthcare system. And what makes it integrated besides kind of high-powered models and so on is individual people taking the time to listen and to make a phone call if that's what it takes, or to do one extra thing. And parents find themselves in that role, understandably to some degree, and probably always will find themselves in that role. But I think the degree to which we can make the system as integrated as possible and as free of sort of unnecessary obstacles as possible, that's important. The other thing that this slide reminds me of is that I have a developmental pediatrics colleague named Mark Woolridge, who in the 1990s developed something called the prognostic beliefs scale. It was and he had scenarios, one of which was almost identical to this scenario. And he, this was sort of a survey, and he surveyed people in different professional roles, including my colleagues in medicine, pediatricians, some surgeons, some social workers, some nurses, also some school teachers and some psychologists, about, with questions like, he would tell the story, I mean, Sarah's here, she has just had surgery on her bowel to open up an obstruction. She eventually went home from the ICU. She had an episode of bacterial meningitis 2 months later. And about 4 months later had congenital heart surgery repaired. So Dr. Woolridge told a little story like that and would ask these various people, what will this person ever be able to read? Will they ever be able to finish school? Will they ever be able to live on their own? Will they be able to walk? They ask questions like that. Will they ever get married? And will they have a job? All this, a series of questions. I'm sad to say that my medical colleagues had the lowest expectations of those professional groups. And they were really, it's the 1990s, mind you, but it's not that long ago. They were really quite low. And special education teachers, I think, had the highest. They went off the charts by consider present standards. But think about your prognostic beliefs, I guess, and your expectations. I mean, my counsel to families when I'm talking to them when they're in this situation is it's about not setting limits and not having beliefs that are somehow influenced by what you thought you knew, or what some test results have told you, or what somebody's medical history looks like. So Sarah, this is Sarah. The upper one is about a month before her heart surgery, and the bottom one is a few months afterwards. And if you look closely, you'll see a difference in her kind of health almost, but certainly her weight and her size, and what a difference that heart surgery made. And she had the heart surgery done by a surgeon named Aldo Castaneda at Children's Hospital. And again, this is what parents do. But he was the one who did the first heart repair of a child with Down syndrome of the kind of defect Sarah had. And it wasn't so long ago that happened. It was in the early 1970s. He's still around, and I don't think he's going to the operating room anymore, but he does see patients down in Boston. But we identified him as the one we wanted to do the surgery for Sarah, because he had the most experience. He'd done this operation by then hundreds of times. And I just come out of my training of pediatrics in Michigan in a hospital where the cardiac surgeon said, we can't, their tissue's different. We can't do these operations. This was in the middle 1970s that I was in my training. So it's the point that families are going to seek the best. And they'll mortgage their house for that. So thinking about access to services, and for something like this, it isn't just any cardiothoracic surgeon that's going to be okay. There are many these days, of course, who can do the surgery extremely well and have lots of experience with it. But not somebody someplace where that experience is really limited. And that's applied for us to who was going to take care of her broken ankle a year ago. We did have to move back in with us, that's true. That's true. We had to sleep on the couch. An old Victorian house that's and this is about living and growing up in the community among all of our peers. So this is what families, I think, are experiencing most of the time now. Graduation from preschool, graduation, she walked with her class. She finished with her class at age 18. She had eligibility for special education services until she's 21. Had she been given her diploma at that ceremony, that eligibility would have ended on that day. And we felt that there was some value in using that to learn about work and learn about living in the community. And so she went back several years later to the principal of the high school. Her diploma was in the safe, and she was given her diploma at future employment.
Yeah. That's right.
And just, things that you might not expect. Well, we were at times when Sarah was trying to entertain herself. She does chess on her iPhone.
And I mean,
You win.
I mean, every other time. I also played chess with my father once in a while. It's not easy for me to be, but I can try. Thanks.
And work, and politics. This is Sarah, that's your job.
Yes. Well, I just want to say, this was very simple. Right now I'm on the computer typing, doing data entries. Notice that I see in front of me that I got a chance to speak with President Obama. And I got a chance to talk to him, hug him, and he and I are really close friends.
Nice.
So there was this experience as well that you've heard a little bit about. That it wouldn't have been on my list of prognostic beliefs when Sarah was born, to be quite honest. But Sarah had a long relationship before getting married with a young man. We'll go unnamed, I guess, at this point. But anonymous. It was a wonderful experience. Sarah had a huge 21st birthday party because we as parents were thinking, well, there's not going to be a wedding reception. And so she also had a huge wedding reception on top of the hill.
Down Hill Farm.
A Diamond Hill Farm, yeah, that's a
Right.
beautiful thing. But marriage is complicated.
It is complicated.
Compromise is difficult.
Right. I also try to be strong about my marriage. Try to be strong. Mostly what marriage is really all about is working, making the money to support, to support anonymous. I'll say that. I was actually married to a man named Levi, by the way. We may have to know that I was first dating him when I first moved to Concord, 2005. Then he proposed to me in front of my family and my parents. I was kind of shocked. I was shocked. And after a while, I went into the marriage part, and I was like very nervous. I had to give up my own life for that. And that's how I'm in the marriage life. Well, I'm working really, I had to work really hard to support my husband at the time being. And after a while, he kind of left.
Well, I mean, to understand it a little bit better is that he grew up and lived in Massachusetts, moved to Concord to be with Sarah, gave up a 30-hour-a-week job with benefits at Target. Was told he would get a job in Concord at Target, and it was all kind of hard. Well, he was given 11 hours a week at Target in Concord on Monday and Tuesday, and left him sort of without much to do the rest of the week. His parents were reluctant to go through the process of enrolling in service systems in New Hampshire. So where Sarah had her community-based supports that we're discussing, Levi had none. It made life difficult, as other things make other people's lives difficult that make married life hard. And Sarah had an illness during this time, a fairly serious one, an infection in her heart that required a month-long hospitalization.
So I kind of had a pacemaker. And it changed me a little bit. It changed about who I am too. And it kind of changed my whole life totally. My family came rushing back to see me when I was in hospitalized.
Right.
I was really sick with brown eyes.
There's the broken
That's my first experience being in a cast. And also being in a wheelchair. Because that's my first experiences. I've never been in a wheelchair before. And I realized what it's like.
I had to be non-weight bearing for a month.
Right. And then my parents helped to me back to, and then my parents were having to get back on my feet. But just cooking things. I tried to do it home because I had a hard time with it. My family was having to cook or clean or other stuff. So yeah. Oh, I like this one. Okay, I want to start with my sister actually. My sister ended up right after Lonnie is my sister, Eliza.
The pictures were taken last week. She's hiking the Appalachian Trail.
Right. Appalachian Trail. And she's hiking along until October, and she comes home. And she's my sister, and she's like one of my best friends. And I really am happy for her. My therapist actually, I just remember saying that my role model and the person I would talk to is my brother. Reed is a great brother I could ever ask for. My only brother. And my mother. And then he's coming home next week. And he's like, I'll show your best friend. He's really best friend. He's still alive. He's a nice role. He's a role model to me. He encouraged me to do many things in the world, as well as my father. He also encouraged me and inspired me to try to be the best person I could be.
Yeah. Well, you've done a lot on that. So Reed actually is he's teaching English in Tunisia for the last 2 years. Doesn't make a lot of money, and when he had to apply for he was going to apply for healthcare on the exchange system, he was advised that actually he's eligible for Medicaid. So he is a member with one of your organizations now, and will be back in our midst in a couple of weeks. He had he didn't choose his primary care doctor because he was in Tunisia and not really focusing on that. So he was assigned a primary care doctor. Sort of interestingly, when he tried to make an appointment, he was told that the doctor didn't have an office, and then he finally reached him on his cell phone from something that he found on the internet. And the fellow answered the phone and said, well, I don't take any patients under age 75. So we're going to help that plan, not have, or have some specifications around this guy, but he since found somebody else, and he's going to have a checkup when he comes home. So.
I just like my favorite one. I'm very clear about that. We all know this is me. They're good at the coffee. This is really natural for me when I was in the woods walking or hiking. And how long I was busy with sister, right? And we just had this time of fun. And
It's about a month before you broke your leg.
bad month before I broke my ankle. So, yeah. Oh, I like this one. What is this?
This is your video.
Tell me
Can you
now.
show the video, and then you can let
And then they tell me now.
No, it's the one you just made.
And this is what I was going to say. That there's about, I'm going to speak, waiting to come up to talk about my family. And I hope you guys really enjoy it. Hi everyone, this is my family, who I grew up with, and I have known my whole life. I have different relationships with each of my family members. There's my sister, Eliza, who has the courage and strength of hiking, and I love her like a best friend. Next is my mother, Lee, who has the ability of teaching French and being independent. We and I had a special relationship. I had both of my parents, Carl and Sonny, who have always been able to encourage me and inspire me to know my history and destiny of being a Picasso. In January 10, I wrote essays on Facebook about having a disability and who I am. My mother and me took all the essays to print and turned them as a gift, which I received on Christmas Day. I was surprised and gave my mother a big hug and a kiss on the cheek. I was so happy and crying. That is how I became a Picasso. My first book was called Stuck to the Essays by Sarah Cooley. I also wrote 2 more books, Love and Loss, and Real Me. Doing it often led me to travel around the world, going to different places where I sell my books, like at the National Conference. I always know that the next book is going to be about the history of who I am, and my experience in nursing with dolphins. I've nursed with dolphins my whole life. One time, a dolphin looked at me, and I felt free, and I felt like that's where I belong. When I was turning 27 years old, my mom told me the story of where she found this dolphin ring. It was my grandmother's ring, and they were part of the family. I knew that dolphins were part of my destiny. That is how the next book is going to be about dolphins. I am proud of who I am and where I come from in the world. And that is how my family always supported me and loved me to help me fulfill my destiny and be a Picasso.
you're probably.
Yes, one more question, if you don't mind. If you have any questions for me, and if anybody's want any interest in my books, come talk to me and ask me any questions. Thank you.
Thank you all. That's the end of the program. I do want to remind you to please fill out your evaluations. This is the first of 4 sessions that we'll be doing over the course of this next year. So we do have agendas planned for each of those, but they're very tentative. And if there's some things that you feel strongly would be helpful, please let us know. And we have set the date for the next session, which is Friday, October 16th. So put that in your calendars, and you'll be getting more information as we move the planning for that forward. So thank you all very much, and we'll see you again in a few months. Thank you.